Greetings, my saplings. Okay, so in today's video, we'll be talking about some tips for copying the black off-white Presto. Specifically in these tips for copying videos, if you happen to be new, what we essentially are going to be talking about is the online store list, some raffles, and how to get multiple entries into those raffles to increase your chances to the fullest extent possible. And at the very end of the video, I did want to give some updated resale predictions for those of you who do want to resell the shoe. But this is another shoe that I actually just want for personal wear. I don't know about you guys, but I really am a fan of this shoe. Just a brief reminder, this shoe does release on July 27th. Not only that, but the retail is $160. Now, you will tend to notice that the retail kind of fluctuates when it comes to a lot of these overseas raffles, but for the most part, it's all under $200. Additionally, this is the most stocked off-white and Nike shoe. Now, that's not to say this is going to be a GR, because it's definitely not. It is just the most stocked in comparison to all the other very limited off-white and Nike shoes. It is said that there's around 300 pairs for every single store, and then in addition to that, there's also Nike sneakers. But with all that out of the way, why don't we jump into the online store list? So it is said that all the stores that receive the off-white Vapor Max in black and white are going to be the same stores that are going to be releasing these. So first, I'm going to give you the confirmed stores. Then I'm also going to give you the stores that aren't yet confirmed, but I'm 99% sure is going to be getting them. So to kick it off with the confirmed store list, let's start it off with Luisa Via Roma. Luisa Via Roma should be releasing these at 8 a.m. Eastern time. However, you have to be a member only. Now, to become a member, you would have had to spend $2,000 because it's 1 point for every dollar spent, and you do need 2,000 points to be a member, or alternatively, you can share this a ton on Twitter. Now, you get 20 points per share, so I'm assuming you probably could pull it off, but the question is it really worth the effort when there's going to be such low stock? In my opinion, I don't really think so, but if you already are a member, here's the deal. 8 a.m. Eastern time, it's going to be a first come first serve, so be ready. Moving on to the next release I wanted to talk about, another first come first serve. We have BSTN releasing these at most likely so far 3 a.m. Eastern time. Now, for all of these first come first serves, my biggest recommendation would be to make sure you have autofill set up. Now, you guys have heard me say this a ton in the past, but I've recently had a ton of questions asking, how do you set up autofill? Do you need to download it? No, guys, you don't need any extensions. All you have to make sure is that you're on Google Chrome. Then in Google Chrome, you just head on over to settings, scroll down to advanced settings, or just advanced. Then you click autofill settings, and then you just fill in all your info there, all your credit card info, all your address info. Don't worry, it's 100% safe. And when you go to checkout, you just type in one letter. It highlights everything. You press OK. The only thing you'll have to fill out is perhaps the state, because you might have to select that if you're in the United States. Or not only that, you might also have to fill in the security code for your credit card. But other than that, it will save you a ton of time. Not only that, another tip for all first come first serve releases. You guys have heard me talk about this as well in the past. Make sure you use Command R on Mac or F5 on Windows to refresh your computer, in comparison to using the little refresh button at the top, because then you are going to be able to keep your mouse hovering over the size selection. I know, it's only going to save you a second, but we're competing with bots here, guys, so every second counts. Anyway, some stores that are going to be confirmed, although I'm not 100% if they're going to be first come first serve, if they might do a queue, or if they're doing a raffle. I'm not exactly sure, but we have Très Bien, Extra Butter, and Invincible. These are all confirmed, but again, I'm not exactly sure how it's going to be happening. Turn on post notifications to stay 100% updated, or for smaller updates, just feel free to follow my Twitter. My Twitter is KeithAdam10. Now, moving on to some stores that I am 99% expecting to be releasing these. So the first store I wanted to mention was Foot Patrol. Foot Patrol should be releasing these at 3 a.m. Eastern time. Now, Foot Patrol does a queue, and we'll talk about queues and how they work a little later. As of now, though, let's move on to Dover Street Market London. Dover Street Market London should be releasing these at 3 a.m. Eastern time. Then Dover Street Market New York releases these at 11 a.m. Eastern time. Now, essentially with Dover Street Market, whether it be London or New York, they have an e-flash up there, very similar to the password page that we used to see on Yeezy Supply. So basically what you're going to want to do, whether it be London or New York, right before 11 or 3 a.m. Eastern time, what you're going to want to do is copy and paste the link without the / password. If you guys remember, we used to do this with Yeezy Supply, where we used to create a bookmark without the / password, because if you remember, if you would just refresh occasionally, you wouldn't get anywhere. You wouldn't even be able to get in. However, if you get rid of that / password, you are basically guaranteed to get right in. Moving on to the next release, we have Blends releasing these at 12 p.m. Eastern time. blend should be a first come first serve. And finally, the last one I wanted to mention should be Soulbox. Soulbox will most likely release these at 3 a.m. Eastern time. Now, just like I mentioned with Foot Patrol, Soulbox will be a queue. So what do you do with queues? Well, you could do a couple of things. First of all, you can use the multiple people jig if you want. However, I want to make it very clear that I do think that these two sites do track IP addresses. I haven't been banned myself by using the multiple people jig. However, just for safety, I haven't been using it recently because some people have said that they've gotten IP banned off of it. So just to be safe, I've been using multiple devices on long-term evolution. Basically, you just turn off your Wi-Fi on your phone, make sure you're using data, then you will have different gateways on every single device, and you won't get IP banned, but you will have multiple entries into that queue, and it will inevitably increase your chances. Anyway, the reason I'm expecting those stores to get them is because those stores, first of all, have been recently getting all of the Off-White V2s. Not only that, but these were stores that released the Off-White Vapor Maxes most importantly, which it has been said that they are going to be the same stores. Now also, of course, Nike Sneakers is going to be doing two things. Before the release, you should expect Nike Sneakers to do a pass for Chicago and New York. Now, essentially with the pass, it's a random time on a random day. To find out when they're going to be doing it, make sure you follow SoulLinks on Twitter and turn on notifications for them, at least just for this week, so you get a notification when something like this goes down. And then once they release the notification, they're usually around 2 minutes late, but once Nike Sneakers puts it on the site, it's 15 minutes after that when they actually go live. Now, what I do just to be safe, I stay on the product page just to be 100% safe, and as soon as it changes from coming soon to reserve now, you just click as fast as you can, you click locations, and you click whatever size you need, and you try to reserve them as fast as possible. So I highly recommend giving Nike Sneakers Pass a try if you're within a 25-mile radius of Chicago or New York. Now also, of course, Nike Sneakers will be doing a real release for these, whether it's a surprise release or if they just drop it on us on the last day, because right now they're not on the launch calendar for Nike Sneakers. So it's very possible that they might do a surprise, very possible that they might just drop it on us like they did for the Zoom Flies the day before. Now, whether this is going to be a draw or a first come first serve, and I say first come first serve because it's not actually first come first serve, it's classified as a Leo, where you have 2 to 4 minutes to enter your entry, and then they start accepting payment methods after that. But basically, we don't know which one it's going to be. Either way though, you want to make sure that you're getting in as many accounts as possible. If you want to hear me go more in depth into this and what you need to do to set up multiple accounts, check out my How to Cop guide. That's where I go really in depth into it. However, this video isn't necessarily for that. It's more for just all the releases in general and all the raffles, etc. With that being said, why don't we move on to the raffles? So for the raffles, the first thing I'm going to be talking about for all the new guys out there, because I'm always trying to look out for you, if you guys need help getting multiple entries, I'm going to be explaining how to do it step by step. However, I understand, like I mentioned in my last tips for copying video, if you are a pro at this, if you already know what you're doing, I'm going to leave a time up here for you to skip to just so you could jump to all the next raffles that we're going to be talking about. But for anyone who doesn't know how to make multiple entries and you want to increase your chances to the fullest extent possible without the algorithm catching you, make sure you stick around. So the first thing we're going to be starting off with is end clothing. We'll use end clothing as a way to teach how to get multiple entries for this specific video. Last time we used sneakers and stuff. This time we'll use end. Anyway, for end clothing, one thing you'll have to do here that is different for a lot of other raffles, you're actually going to have to make multiple accounts. Now, when you make all these multiple accounts, you're not going to have to do this for every single raffle, but take the information I'm giving you and apply it to those other raffles just without creating multiple accounts. So for instance, the first thing you're definitely going to need is an email address. Now, for end clothing and most raffles, you can use the +1+2 jig, I like to call it. All you have to do is make sure you're using a Gmail account, then you just add a plus and a random number right after your email address, right before the @gmail.com. This will make it appear to the algorithm that it's a completely different email address. It will allow you to make multiple ones without a problem. But the best thing is all your emails go to that one main account, so you're not going to have to check like 15 different email addresses to see if you want a raffle. Anyway though, you're going to want to do that for this one. However, when it comes to sneakers and stuff, and also Nike Sneakers, I recommend using legitimate email addresses without the +1 or +2, etc. Again guys, there's also no cap to this. You could do +1, 1,000. Moving on, I also like to make a random birth date. This doesn't really matter, but it's just a safety precaution I like to do. Then when you're on your account, you want to click add address. So first of all, with your address, when it comes to the last word of your address, you're going to want to change that up a little. You want to make sure the characters are different. Someone asked before in my previous video, should you capitalize it or maybe decapitalize it? No, you should not. You have to make sure they're different characters, as you can see in the examples here. It's okay if you spell it wrong, if you abbreviate it, do whatever you want. Also, as another precaution, I like to add an address line too if you live in a house. However, if you live in an apartment, you can't actually do this. You live in a house though, feel free to add address line 2, 1A, 1B, maybe 1C, anything of that nature. It will make it appear like it's a different address, but they're obviously just going to leave it at your doorstep if you happen to win. Then also, unfortunately, for some raffles, including sneakers and stuff and clothing, you're going to need different payment methods. So this means you might have to borrow payment methods, say from your wife or maybe from your parents. You borrow their credit card or something like that. Or you can alternatively check out privacy.com if you haven't done that already. It's something I use to create multiple different numbers if you feel like checking that out. Some other raffles I wanted to include other than the end clothing raffle would include the Browns raffle. Now keep in mind, this is UK only for Browns. Also, some raffles will require you to add an Instagram for Instagram accounts. My biggest recommendation is to not make fake accounts, but to actually ask a friend to follow them for you and just use their account name there. And then right after this, you could have them unfollow them. Then also, Naked will be doing a first come first serve thing where you sort of sign up when this goes live. It hasn't gone live yet. And then if you happen to be selected, you are allowed to participate in the first come first serve. Then we also have Soto. Now, unfortunately, Soto, I believe, is an in-store pickup only. Then we also have Foot District, and finally, we have Sneakers and Stuff. Now, Sneakers and Stuff doesn't go live for like 3 days from now or something like that. But most importantly, 2 to 3 days from now, we're going to see a lot more raffles pop up. Now, I wanted to get this video out before that time, just so you guys knew how to make multiple entries, so everyone knew what they were doing. So right now, if you go to my Twitter, which is KeithAdam10, I have all the current links up there right now, but there are definitely going to be more, and I'll be sending them out on my Twitter if I find any more. Alright, so to finish today's video, I did of course want to discuss some resale predictions because I know a lot of you guys care about that. So again, like I mentioned previously, this is the most stocked Off-White and Nike shoe. However, don't let this distract you. This is still going to be a shoe that sells out. Not only that, this is still a shoe that is definitely going to be profitable. Now, don't expect crazy profit. I would expect profit to be very similar to the Off-White Zoom Flies or maybe also the Off-White Vapor Maxes. Keep in mind the retail on those were also a little higher, and I'm talking about profit, not overall value. So you should expect profit to be somewhat similar in between those two, which means they're still profitable. I can't give you an exact number, of course, but don't stress when buying these. Definitely don't sleep on these if you like them. I can guarantee you that they're going to sell out. So I'm planning to get a personal pair. I don't know about you guys, but good luck on this release, of course. If you happen to enjoy the video, if you perhaps learned a thing or two, feel free to leave a like. That would mean a lot to me. Not only that, but subscribe and turn on post notifications so you stay updated on every single hyped shoe. With that, though, I'll see you guys later. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and good luck. Bing bang, ding ding ding, ding 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 ding.